Welcome to this deep dive into AI security, specifically looking at the vulnerabilities of large language models.
Yeah, you've given us a whole stack of research papers fresh off the ArcSiv preprint server,
All published today.
February 3rd, 2025.
We're going to uncover brand new attack techniques and some impressive defense strategies, and I think some really interesting, thought-provoking questions about the future of AI.
The sheer volume of research emerging today just highlights how rapidly this field is evolving.
It's exciting,
Yeah.
and also a little bit daunting.
It is.
So let's start with this explosion of customized LLMs.
Okay.
Everyone wants personalized AI, which means millions of these customized models are being deployed.
Right, and this creates a massive attack surface.
Yeah.
And one paper introduces DarkMine, a new kind of backdoor attack.
Hmm.
That's incredibly difficult to detect.
Okay.
Imagine a scenario where your customized LLM is subtly manipulated to give you altered results
Oh, wow.
without you ever knowing.
That sounds straight out of a sci-fi thriller.
It does have a sinister element to it.
Yeah. Unlike traditional attacks that rely on injecting triggers into user queries,
Right.
DarkMind operates within the reasoning chain of the LLM itself,
But it's hidden.
and it lies dormant until the LLM engages in complex reasoning,
Wow.
making it extremely stealthy.
So how effective is this DarkMind attack?
Well,
Did the researchers actually demonstrate it?
they tested it across a variety of tasks in LLMs. And the results are concerning.
Really?
They were able to successfully manipulate the outputs of these models in ways that would be very difficult to detect without specialized knowledge.
So that's a serious problem.
It raises serious questions about the security of customized AI solutions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Moving on, another paper tackles membership inference attacks,
Right.
which I find equally unsettling.
These attacks try to determine if specific data was used to train a vision language model, or VLM. It's like someone trying to figure out if your private photos were part of a facial recognition system's training data.
Pretty creepy,
Right.
Really creepy.
It makes you wonder how secure our data really is in the age of AI.
Yeah.
So what can be done about these threats?
Wow.
Are researchers just uncovering vulnerabilities, or are they also developing solutions?
It's not all doom and gloom.
Okay.
There's a constant back and forth, a sort of arms race between those seeking to exploit AI and those working to defend it.
Right.
On the defense side, we're seeing some really ingenious approaches.
Okay.
One paper explores the use of constitutional classifiers, which operate on a set of rules almost like a digital constitution.
So these classifiers are trained on a set of rules that define acceptable and unacceptable behavior for the LLM.
That's the basic idea.
Yeah.
It's like having a set of guidelines
Right.
that prevent the LLM from being tricked into generating harmful or biased content. The researchers actually use synthetic data created by prompting LLMs with natural language rules to train these constitutional classifiers.
So they're using AI to train other AI to be more secure.
It is.
That's quite meta.
It is, and the initial results are promising.
Okay.
The researchers claim that no one was able to find a universal jailbreak that could bypass these classifiers during their red teaming exercises.
Interesting.
Of course, this is an ongoing challenge, and we can expect attackers to constantly come up with new ways to try to circumvent these defenses.
Let's shift gears a little bit
Sure.
and talk about AI in healthcare.
Okay.
Specifically, this concept of AI clinicians.
Right.
It's fascinating how LLMs are being used to provide medical advice.
Yeah.
But what happens when these systems are vulnerable to jailbreaking?
That's a critical question.
Yeah.
One study specifically investigated the vulnerability of LLMs to jailbreaking in medical contexts.
Right.
And the researchers were able to bypass safety measures and force these AI systems to produce outputs that could potentially harm patients.
That's a scary thought.
Yeah.
Imagine an AI clinician being manipulated to give dangerous medical advice.
Right.
What can be done to prevent that?
Well, the same study that demonstrated the vulnerability also explored countermeasures.
Okay.
One promising approach is continual fine-tuning, which involves constantly updating and refining the LLM's training data and parameters.
So it's like giving the AI clinician ongoing education.
Exactly.
Okay.
To keep up with the latest threats and best practices.
It's about constantly adapting and improving the system
Right.
to stay ahead of those trying to exploit it.
Exactly.
This whole conversation reminds me of that old saying, knowledge is power. The more we understand about how these systems work and how they can be attacked, the better we can defend them.
Absolutely. Transparency and open research are essential for the responsible development of AI.
Yeah.
By openly sharing our knowledge about vulnerabilities and defense strategies,
Right.
we can collectively work towards making AI safer and more beneficial for everyone.
Let's dive into a few specific papers that illustrate this cat and mouse game
Okay.
between those attacking and those defending LLMs.
Yeah.
One that caught my eye was about a technique called a task-in-prompt attack.
Uh-huh.
Have you had a chance to look at that one?
I have task and prompt, or TIP, is a clever technique that hides malicious commands within seemingly harmless prompts. It's like embedding a virus inside a file that looks perfectly safe.
Wow.
The researchers who discovered this attack also created a new benchmark called PHRYGE
Okay.
to systematically assess LLM vulnerabilities.
So they're providing tools.
It's a valuable resource for anyone working on LLM security.
That's incredibly sneaky.
Yeah.
I also came across a paper about a jailbreaking method with a rather adventurous name, Indiana Jones.
Oh, yeah.
What can you tell us about that one?
That one is particularly interesting because it involves using dialogues between multiple LLMs to bypass content safeguards.
So they're making the AI talk to itself.
It's a bit like turning the AI against itself.
Wow.
The researchers found that LLMs are especially vulnerable to this kind of attack when the prompts are framed in historical or contextual contexts.
It's a reminder that AI can be manipulated in unexpected ways,
Yeah.
even through seemingly harmless prompts.
Right.
These are all fascinating and, frankly, a little bit unsettling discoveries.
Yeah.
But I'm encouraged by the fact that researchers are actively investigating these vulnerabilities
Yeah.
and developing countermeasures.
It's a constant battle, but one that we need to win
Absolutely.
to ensure the safe and responsible development of AI.
I agree. The work being done in AI security is crucial.
Yeah.
It's not just about protecting technology.
Right.
It's about protecting people.
It is, as AI becomes increasingly integrated into our lives,
Yeah.
we need to make sure it's secure, trustworthy, and aligned with our values.
Well, this has been a whirlwind tour of some of the latest research in AI security.
It has.
But this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
Let's take a closer look at a few more specific papers that caught our attention in the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good. Let's delve deeper into some of these papers. One that I found particularly thought-provoking is titled Safer Ag, a benchmark for evaluating the security of retrieval augmented generation.
I'm familiar with the concept of retrieval augmented generation, or RAG,
Right.
but I'm curious to hear about the security implications.
Well, RAID combines large language models with external knowledge sources like databases or the internet,
Right.
and this expands the LLM's knowledge base.
Yeah.
But it also introduces new attack vectors. The Safer Ag paper outlines a whole taxonomy of attacks specifically targeting RA systems.
So give us a sense of the types of attacks that they describe.
They categorize these attacks into 4 main types:
Okay.
silver noise, intercontext conflict, soft ad, and white denial of service.
Those sound pretty technical. Can you break them down for us?
Yeah, so silver noise involves injecting subtle errors into the retrieved knowledge,
Okay.
which can poison the LLM's output. It's like
Yeah.
subtly corrupting the LLM's data source. Intercontext conflict introduces contradictions between different pieces of retrieved information, confusing the LLM.
Okay.
Soft ads are a way to slip in promotional content,
So, wow.
manipulating the LLM's output for commercial gain.
It's sneaky.
And white denial of service aims to overload the system, making it unavailable.
It's amazing how researchers are uncovering these vulnerabilities and devising ways to exploit them. It really highlights the need for robust security measures in RA systems.
Absolutely. And the SaferEgg paper not only identifies these attacks,
Right.
but also provides a data set for evaluating RAID security.
So it's a resource for other researchers.
This data set can be used to test the resilience of RA systems
Right.
to these specific types of attacks and to develop more effective defenses.
Another paper that stood out to me explores a method called graph of attacks with pruning.
Okay.
It focuses on generating stealthy jailbreak prompts.
Right.
It's a bit unnerving to think about these attacks constantly evolving and becoming more sophisticated.
It is a bit like an arms race. The graph of attacks with pruning, or GAP, leverages strategies from previous jailbreak attempts, effectively learning from past successes and failures to become more effective.
So by studying previous attacks, researchers are able to develop more potent ones.
It achieves a higher attack success rate while using fewer queries, making it quite efficient.
Isn't there a risk that this research could fall into the wrong hands and be used maliciously?
That's a valid concern with any security research.
Yeah.
However, it's important to remember that by understanding these attack techniques,
Right.
we can develop more effective defenses.
So it's like studying viruses to develop better vaccines.
Exactly. Transparency and open research are crucial for advancing AI security.
I'm curious about the paper titled Joint Optimization of Prompt Security and System Performance.
Okay.
It seems to take a more holistic approach to AI security,
Right.
considering both the need for protection and the importance of performance.
It's a practical perspective, especially considering the real-world deployment of AI systems.
Yeah.
This paper specifically focuses on prompt security in edge cloud LLM systems, and it recognizes that security needs to be considered alongside performance and resource optimization.
So it's not just about preventing attacks, it's also about ensuring the system runs smoothly and efficiently. It sounds like a delicate balancing act.
Indeed, the researchers propose a multi-stage dynamic Bayesian game model
Wow.
to address this challenge.
Okay.
They use game theory to model the interactions between attackers and defenders, which allows them to develop strategies that optimize both security and performance.
Using game theory for AI security, that's a really interesting application.
Yeah.
What kind of practical solutions did they come up with?
They introduce a lightweight attack detector
Yeah.
that uses a vector database. It's designed to identify malicious prompts without adding a lot of overhead to the system.
So it's efficient.
Their results show that this approach improves security while reducing service latency for benign users.
It sounds like a promising solution. It's encouraging to see researchers developing practical solutions that address the real-world challenges of deploying AI systems securely and efficiently. Now let's turn our attention to the defense strategies that researchers are exploring.
Okay.
One that stands out is the use of constitutional classifiers. This approach really captured my imagination because it draws an analogy to our legal systems.
It's a compelling analogy. Constitutional classifiers define a set of rules that the LLM must adhere to.
Right.
Similar to how a constitution outlines fundamental rights and limitations.
Yeah.
These rules define what the LLM is allowed to do and what it's prohibited from doing. It's a way of embedding ethical and safety guidelines directly into the AI system.
It sounds like an elegant way to prevent LLMs from being manipulated into generating harmful or inappropriate content. How do they train these classifiers?
They use a clever technique. They created synthetic data by prompting LLMs with natural language rules. They essentially used AI to train other AI to be more secure.
That's fascinating.
Their research indicates that these constitutional classifiers are quite robust.
Right.
They claim that during their testing, no one was able to find a universal jailbreak that could bypass these classifiers.
That's an impressive result. Of course, we can expect attackers to continue to develop new techniques, but this seems like a significant step forward in LLM security.
It's certainly a promising approach, but it's important to remember that no security solution is perfect.
Right.
We need to continually evaluate and adapt our defenses as new attack techniques emerge. Security is an ongoing process, not a destination.
Absolutely. Another defense strategy that caught my attention involves distorting the embedding space. Can you explain how this technique works and what it aims to achieve?
This technique focuses on making diffusion models.
Okay.
Those AI systems that generate realistic images from text prompts.
Right.
More resistant to adversarial attacks.
Okay.
These models can be manipulated to produce harmful or inappropriate content.
So this method aims to protect against those kinds of manipulations.
Exactly. It works by subtly altering the way the text prompt is represented internally within the diffusion model. This transformation makes it more difficult for attackers to craft prompts that will trigger the generation of unwanted content.
So it's like adding a layer of protection that filters out potentially harmful prompts.
You could think of it that way.
Okay.
It's a way to safeguard these powerful image generation models without sacrificing their ability to generate creative and benign content.
It's fascinating to see how researchers are approaching AI security from so many different angles, from analyzing attack techniques to developing robust defenses. It's a dynamic and rapidly evolving field.
It is, and it highlights the importance of collaboration and knowledge sharing in this space.
Yeah.
The more we understand about how these systems can be attacked and defended, the better equipped we'll be to ensure the safe and beneficial development of AI.
This deep dive into the latest research has been eye-opening. It's clear that AI security is a critical area that requires ongoing attention and investment. What are your key takeaways from all these papers? What should our listeners be thinking about as they continue to explore the world of AI?
One key takeaway is that AI security is not just a technical issue, it's also a societal issue.
Hmm.
As AI systems become more integrated into our lives,
Right.
we need to ensure they are secure, trustworthy, and aligned with our values.
Yeah.
This requires a multifaceted approach that involves researchers, developers, policymakers, and the public. We all have a role to play in shaping the future of AI.
That's a great point. We need to be having these conversations about AI security and ethics now, while these technologies are still relatively young.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's much easier to build security and ethical considerations into AI systems from the ground up
Yeah.
than it is to try to retrofit them later.
Well, this has been a fascinating exploration of the cutting edge of AI security. Let's wrap up this deep dive by pondering some of the bigger questions that this research raises about the future of AI development. It feels like we're just scratching the surface here of understanding the vulnerabilities of LLMs and how to protect them.
We've covered a lot of ground,
Yeah.
but it's clear that this field is constantly evolving.
One recurring theme is this idea of an arms race between attackers and defenders.
Right. It's a dynamic process.
Yeah.
As soon as a new defense is developed, attackers start looking for ways to circumvent it.
It makes you wonder if we're chasing our tails, always one step behind.
To some extent, yes, but that's the nature of security research.
Right.
It's a constant cycle of discovery, exploitation, and mitigation.
So what does this mean for the future of AI development? Do we need to rethink our approach?
I think we need to make security a fundamental part of the AI development lifecycle, not an afterthought.
So we can't just focus on building powerful AI systems. We need to build secure AI systems from the ground up.
It's a shift in mindset.
Hmm.
We need to anticipate potential vulnerabilities and design systems with security in mind from the very beginning.
That makes sense, but it's not just about technical solutions, right? There are ethical considerations as well.
Absolutely. AI systems are increasingly making decisions that impact our lives.
So if these systems can be manipulated, the consequences could be significant.
Exactly. We need to think carefully about the potential risks and ensure that AI is developed and deployed responsibly.
This brings up the issue of transparency.
Right.
Do we need more openness in AI research and development?
I think transparency is crucial.
Yeah.
We need to understand how these systems work, how they're being used, and what safeguards are in place.
This includes being open about vulnerabilities and sharing information about potential threats.
Exactly. Open research and collaboration are essential for advancing AI security.
By working together, we can stay ahead of the curve and mitigate potential risks.
I agree.
This deep dive has certainly given us a lot to think about.
It has.
It's been eye-opening and a bit unsettling at times.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I'm optimistic.
Me too. There are challenges ahead, but there's also a lot of brilliant minds working on solutions.
The future of AI depends on our ability to secure it and ensure that it's used for good.
It's a responsibility we all share.
This has been The Deep Dive. Thanks for joining us on this exploration of the fascinating and ever-evolving world of AI security.